Good morning, everybody. Happy Wednesday, and welcome to Morning in the Valley. I'm Jeff Bidwell. Glad you are with us today as we are here for you every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, bringing you coverage of Missouri Valley Conference men's and women's basketball. If you do us a favor, if you're watching on X, on Facebook, YouTube, wherever today, head over to YouTube for me. Search out Morning in the Valley and just subscribe to that page, like it, share it with your Valley-loving friends, and help us continue to grow. We're about a month into this little project. Hope everybody has enjoyed it so far. Still plenty more big plans for you this summer, and looking forward to continuing to let this little project continue to grow. Today, we will talk some Drake women's basketball with Bulldog radio voice Hunter Phillips. A bit of a dawning of a new era for the Drake program, as some of the all-time greats have graduated and moved on. Anna Miller, Katie Dinenbeer, among others. So we'll talk with Hunter about really the great run that they've had, and now sort of head coach Allison Pullman needing to reshuffle the deck a little bit and bring in some reinforcements to keep that Bulldog program right at the top of the pack in the Missouri Valley Conference. All right, today our lead story is some valley to valley movement. We talk a lot about the transfer portal and kids either coming from places, bigger schools coming down, maybe haven't had an opportunity to ply their craft as much as they would hope, don't have an opportunity to reach the potential that they would hope, or you get guys from lower levels to come up, maybe had some success at the lower level, and you just hope you can still get that success and continue to have it be the production that they had and have it be at that level when they come up to the Missouri Valley Conference. Well, for the Southern Illinois Salukis, they got a young man that has been very productive in the Missouri Valley Conference, and now he is sliding over from Valparaiso, and he is now a Saluki of Southern Illinois, as there is Isaiah Stafford, who did not play last season, had a knee injury, had surgery on a torn knee ligament last May, and there was a lot of, as the summer progressed, we got into the fall, it was a will he, won't he, could he maybe be back and ready to go? And in the end, Valparaiso never got him on the floor last year. But 2 seasons ago, he was Valparaiso's leading scorer, averaged 17 points a game, 3.5 rebounds, 2 assists, a steal and a half. And now he is leaving Valpo, and he is a member of the backcourt for Scott Nagy's Southern Illinois bunch. He played at John A. Logan College, junior college, which is only about 10 minutes down the road from SIU back in the 2022-23 season. So he's got some familiarity with the area. Certainly got to believe the former staff there at SIU tried to get him to come, but in the end, he opts to go to Valparaiso for 2 seasons. Again, 2 years ago, extremely productive in the Valley, injured last year. And if he is healthy and he is back and healthy and can play at a level that he played at 2 seasons ago, this could potentially be as significant of an addition as we've seen all across the Missouri Valley Conference. There have been some guys that have come with big pedigrees. We've seen guys that have come from bigger schools that have come down to the Missouri Valley that get a lot of people excited. But this is a kid that scored 17 a game in the Valley. And so this has the potential to be as big of an addition as we have seen all spring long here in the conference. We had some other movement here as well, as the Drake Bulldogs have added a couple names, as they have signed Owen Larson, who comes from South Dakota State, freshman last year at South Dakota State, again with his head coach Eric Henderson, who's now the head coach of the Bulldogs. So that was an easy situation to, hey man, come on down and come play for us. 6'2" guard from Iowa, averaged 9 points a game. He was the number 4 scorer for that South Dakota State team last year. And also, there was an addition from a young man by the name of Braden Apples at New Mexico for the last 3 seasons. 6'7" guard, played 57 games over 3 years with New Mexico, averaged about 3.5 points per game last year for New Mexico, but he is a sniper. 43.8% from 3-point range. Again, a big guard, a big wing that can shoot it. And so we're going to bank on the pedigree there for Coach Henderson there at Drake. So we will see how Braden is able to acclimate to his new school. But some additions. It was funny. I've seen some portal scoreboards, of schools that have been very active in the portal and schools that have, gotten the most guys to come in. And it's been Murray State and it's been Drake as the two big additions. And of course, it's like Murray State has a new coach in Ryan Miller, and basically the deck was cleared and he needs to go fill an entire roster. Of course, he's going to have a lot of guys in the portal, just like at Drake, where either guys graduated, a bunch of guys left with Ben McCollum to go to Iowa. And so, of course, Eric Henderson has to have a lot. So it's great to have your name sort of listed nationally and people can point, but you don't have to peel back too many layers of the onion to realize, oh, that's why that happened. I kind of, we understand, but Drake continues to be active in the portal as we, again, portal's closed, and now we're in acquisition time as we move forward here for the next couple of weeks, as we're about a month now, because Memorial Day is kind of the day. Summer classes start and teams kind of have to be set. So this final 4-week stretch now is when schools really need to get everybody locked in and ready to go. I came across a video yesterday, Jay Billis from ESPN, talking about NIL and talking about the impact it has on mid-major schools and how it's been a benefit to mid-major schools. And so without me waxing poetic about Jay, we're going to get to Jay Billis in just a minute because I don't want to make our man wait any longer. He's Hunter Phillips. He is the voice of Drake women's basketball, and he is with us now. Hunter, good morning to you, sir. How are you?
Good morning, Jeff. Doing really well. Yeah, I mean, I'm ready to get at it. Anytime you can talk in on May, the relays just finished up here at Drake, so time is just flying by. But appreciate you having me on your program. Been loving the stuff here with the Morning in the Valley.
Well, I appreciate it. For those of us on the outside of the Drake community, this Drake relay thing, I mean, that's a deal. Can you give us a 30-second synopsis for us outsiders that don't fully know what it is? But just judging you and Michael Admire and everybody from over there, it's like this has sort of taken over the Drake community for the last little bit.
Oh, it really has. I mean, for just about a week stretch, I'm into it. Athletes from all across the world venture in to compete, and you see Olympians, former Olympians, and this is an event that's been going on for over 115 years. And so there's just really a rich history for it. The blue oval, the track at Drake Stadium, it's just really iconic when you hear Drake relays, Penn relays. That's what it's really all about in the track and field community. And so it definitely takes over our little small section of Des Moines, but the whole city really embraces it as people from around the world come in. So that just wrapped up. So now everyone can kind of here as that's over with. I know we're actually going to be hosting the MVC softball championships here coming up. So not quite relaxation time, but a lot of fun things happening here in Des Moines.
All right, let's talk basketball. Drake women, it's really been a great decade. 5 NCAA tournament trips in 9 years, but this last 4-year window, really in the last 3 that was so great, 73 and 28 overall, 48 and 12 in the Valley, 2 trips to the NCAA tournament. When you look at that 3-4 year segment, what's your grand takeaway from the Drake program and what they were able to do?
Well, I tell you, I mean, it all begins with that transition from Baranchik, and look what she's doing now at Oklahoma, to Allison Pullman coming in and just taking over the reins and really not changing too much of Drake's identity, but kind of bringing in her own, pieces of what she wants to do stylistically, because that was the time when Katie Dinnebier, Anna Miller, they said yes to Coach Pullman because of that coaching transition. Courtney Becker remained on, Ashley Imes as well. And so that really I'll never forget that first season, Jeff, where at the very first Valley game, Drake lost to Indiana State. So Allison Pullman began her Valley, career as a head coach with a loss, and there were some ups and downs. It was a pretty young team altogether, really strong senior class, but then how they were able to, really make a positive there towards the end of Valley play, and then ultimately they fell a little bit short in the MVC tournament that year, but then they made it to the round of 16 in the WNIT, falling to South Dakota State, who ended up winning the whole thing, won at Missouri. That was certainly a real deal. And then actually ended up playing UNI at home. So that was kind of like the momentum that really spurred things. Back trips to the NCAA, that following season. I'll never forget Katie Dinnebeer really frustrated Haley Van Lith when Drake played. Would have gone in, probably could have won against Louisville there in Austin, Texas. And then in the season, really good Colorado team at Kansas State. And then this past season, 22 wins, WBIE, and just the momentum that this program has been able to build. Like you said, Jeff, it's been really, really chill, but it's been really unique with Allison Pullman just kind of bringing her own style and how the team has really just been able to rally around her.
This past season, the top half of the league was just, it felt like the margins were razor thin from 1 to 6 really in the end. And being the 2-time defending tournament champions, was there a sense of, all right, we want to win the regular season title, but if we can't, that's fine. Let's get to Evansville, and we're going to take care of business and three-peat? Or with maybe some retrospect, did you see some oil leaking a little bit, that maybe this run was just not destined to continue?
Yeah, Jeff, and how the margins were razor thin. I mean, if you think about it, if Drake would have won at least one of their overtime Bears credit that they were able to force overtime and win. And going into the final weekend of the regular season, it was Murray State, Missouri State, and Drake in a 3-way tie for first by almost 20 points in the third quarter, but give Valparaiso credit really, really hard there at their building, and ultimately came out top. And so you think about it, you go from potentially could have been a 1-2 seed to then you're the 4 seed. And so, I mean, as great as this team really was this year, I guess you could really at players that came off the bench that could really step up and provide a little bit more consistency. Then it was going to be really, really tough for this team to three-peat. As great as Katie Dinnebeer was, and the likes of Anna Miller, Courtney Becker, it was going to take a full cast, and that was what this team had in seasons past. I think we really saw the not having Grace Berg out there because she took just a lot of pressure off the likes of Anna Miller and others. And so then you see a team like Murray State, who, I mean, the greatness that we got to see this year, Jeff, unbelievable. Caitlin Young and Katie Dinnebeer. I mean, we were just so lucky in this day and age to be able to witness, that kind of level of play. But you look at Murray State, everyone on that team has a scoring mentality. And that's, when Drake was at their best, that's what it was. Everyone had that aggressiveness, and it just wasn't quite there. And so it was going to take a Herculean effort, I felt like, for this team to be able to win in Evansville. But Murray State, no doubt about it, they were the best team. And I mean, the fans there in Evansville, I mean, it was just it was fantastic. It was a fantastic atmosphere. And the Racers, by far and away, they were the team to beat this year. And it's amazing what Coach Turner has been able to do, just really kind of, transitioning into the Valley, a higher, pace of play, if you will. And man, it's those games where Drake and Murray State, if you like high scoring basketball, those are the ones you want to watch right there. So, it was going to take quite a special effort and some luck, I feel like, in order for Drake to get the three-peat, and just came up a little bit short.
That semifinal game in Evansville was bananas. And also looking back at Katie Dinnebeer, who again scores almost 2,100 points for her career, led the nation in assists this year, and drop 45 on the racers in the semifinals. Just like, we're not going home if I have anything to say about it. She was one of those guards this year. I just felt like there were so many guards in the league, undersized guards, that, boy, if they were 5'8", 5'9", Lord knows where they would be playing in this country. But so many great guards, from the Dinnebeers to the McDermotts, the Stokes, the Fords and Pokes, and all that. But when Katie Dinnebeer walks into the gym, she doesn't strike fear in you. If you didn't know any better, you wouldn't think anything. And then you realize very quickly, oh, she is a killer. When did you, in her sort of her progress from the first day she walked in, did you realize, holy cow, this young lady is beyond special?
Well, I tell you what, when I first found out that Katie was committed to Drake, I'm like, here we go. I mean, this is a home run hitting player. She played at Waukee High School, same high school that Tucker DeVries. In fact, they were in the same graduating class there at Waukee. They both won a state championship. And with Katie, their team very much was, they're going to press you. So she was the one that, as soon as the ball handler crossed half court, Katie was right there. And when the lights were at their brightest at the state here in Iowa, which is held at Wells Fargo Arena in Des Moines, she just absolutely lit up everyone. And she went up against Maya McDermott in state tournament title games when Maya McDermott was at Johnston. So I mean, these kind of rivalries run a little deep. And so with Katie, I knew just as a junior and senior that this was going to be a player that, what the Valley, which you mentioned, Jeff, it's very much guard driven, that she is going to be just an absolute menace. And in one of her very first games against Creighton, she knocks down a three to essentially win the game for the Bulldogs. And so it was at that point where it's like, okay, yeah, there's something special here. And just year after year, she just continued to get better. And this year, her scoring was at a whole nother level. I mean, those 45 points that you mentioned, only one other player in the history of the MVC women's basketball tournament has scored 40 or more points in a game, and that is, of course, the great Jackie Stiles. And so, I mean, Katie, she knew when to be the facilitator, right? And she was great. Again, like you said, led the country in assists this year, but she really had to be that big time scorer, maybe more than maybe the liking of the coaching staff. But I mean, she had great games against Iowa State. I mean, whatever the environment was at its biggest, its brightest, that's where she stood out. But I go back to high school, just continue to have that evolution. She is going to be a special player, but I mean, yeah, she's going to go down as one of the all-time greats in program history.
And she's brilliant on top of that, and ends up deciding passing on a pro career to continue her journey through pharmacy school. Were you surprised in the end that she didn't maybe just push pause? Not that you can push pause. Well, maybe you can push pause on the academics. It's not going anywhere. I want to play until I can't anymore. Or was this always kind of the path for her?
To be honest with you, I really wasn't all that surprised. Just, kind of gauging, I didn't really ask her directly, but I just got the feeling from her, and more importantly, from her family, her mom and dad, those who know her best. I mean, she's really close to her family, that it wasn't a goal of hers. And while the opportunity would be fantastic, like playing overseas, for example, that wasn't something that was of interest. And yeah, I mean, when the WNBA comes calling potentially, it's like, okay, that is pretty cool. All stems back to her pursuing her degree in pharmacy, and how she can balance all of that along with all these student athletes across the Valley and at Drake. It's amazing to me because of the time commitments, and then you throw in the NIL, because Katie had all of those obligations too. So yeah, to me, it was academics were the most important thing to her. That was the biggest reason why she chose Drake, along with being close to her family. So it wasn't really that big of a surprise, because she level of interest that was a goal of hers to play professionally. And so now she's going to go on and be great, in the pharmacy world, no matter, what kind of track she wants to go in. Has one more year of that. So I know she's going to continue to maintain a really close spot with this program. And so just lucky to have her still around here for another year. And I know that professional for sure. But at the end of the day, I think she's just really went with basketball journey where it took her and how much it gave her, and she's ready to jump into this new.
Did we lose Hunter? Nope, there he is. All right, he's back. Anna Miller, the other big piece for the year. 1,500 points, 1,000 rebounds, school's all-time leader in blocks, two-time defensive player in the year. It was just such a great inside-outside package that Allison Pullman able to present here the last 4 years. What's her legacy that she's going to leave behind? Another brilliant young woman, scholar athlete of the year in the Missouri Valley. But what's the on-court legacy she's going to leave behind?
I mean, just an excellent student athlete, and just the embodiment it is to be a bulldog. Her mom works at the Mayo Clinic in Rochester, and there she is up against her sister when they played there in the Pack the Nap game when USC Upstate came to town. Her sister to North Dakota, so a little bit closer to home. But the thing about Anna that you just knew right away was that she is just a shot blocking machine. She left Drake as its all-time leader by a huge margin in block shots. In fact, I think she only needed like 5 going into this season to break Tammy Blackstone's record. And Tammy Blackstone's one of the best forwards in pro history. But you're talking about somebody that has that rare 1,000 point, 1,000 rebound. I think only 5 other players have accomplished that. So she's go down afterwards, but the versatility. I mean, she wasn't just somebody that was down low, grabbing rebounds and putbacks. She could knock down threes. In fact, I think she made a career high 4 threes in one of the Valley games earlier this year. And so, actually, that was at the MVC tournament against Illinois State, and needed every bit of those threes in that close game. So, no, just ultimate competitor. And if you're in Drake's system, you have to be able to run up and down the floor. And if you're 6'3", and it could take a lot out of you, but she just poured everything into her teammates, and then to be able to again balance that academic side of things, it's just really, really incredible. And it's just part of a senior class where, I mean, Ashley Imes, she's going into podiatry school. Courtney Becker has her doctorate in pharmacy, and I think going after some. I mean, it's absolutely incredible just what that senior class was able to do both on and off the court.
When the coaching carousel got rolling after the season was over, saw Allison Pullman's name really explicitly tied to Arizona. If there was one job out there, and for what she has done in her time at Drake, her being linked to jobs is by no means surprising. Was there a general feeling in the air that this is just internet gibberish, or was there maybe like, there might be some smoke to this?
I would say that about 80% of it was internet gibberish, but there is a little bit to it. I mean, no surprise that she has been, linked to opportunities. I know Wisconsin was certainly one where there are coaches around the Midwest that were very much interested in that job. And so I think when it comes to Allison, I mean, she's now been at Drake for, this will be what, 18, 19 seasons. And so her triplets were just, really little when they came to Des Moines. And now they've all graduated from high school. One of them is actually going to be in the pharmacy school at Drake. And so she's very much comfortable, from Iowa, and, played at UNI. And so I feel like it would have to take something kind of like with Jenny. It had to take something really, really special in order to step away. I'm sure at some point there will be that one opportunity where it's like, it's hard to pass that up. But winning is the most important thing to Allison, and that's where she wants to go. It's not going to be about, it's a Power 5 job or a Power 6 job. Like, I have to take it. No, I mean, if she's going to take an opportunity, it's going to be somewhere where she feels like she has the pieces, resources to be able to win. But all in all, she's really, really comfortable in Des Moines, and again, we're just lucky to have her here, and she's just been one of the best coaches to work with. Makes my life on the broadcasting side super easy. Always, just very friendly, very approachable, and has become really a great friend over has been 9 seasons for me on the call. So yeah, she definitely deserves an opportunity. And when she takes it, just, it's going to be congratulations, Allison. You definitely deserve it, but it's going to take something special.
It's the double-edged sword at our level. You never want to see your coach go, but when they do, it's because you're winning a
Yep.
bunch, and she has certainly
Right.
done that. So what's next for Drake? This I said it kind of feels like it's definitely a chapter that is closed when you lose a Dinnebeer and a Miller and a Courtney Becker, and it's like, okay, we don't rebuild, we reload, and so what's sort of the level of April 30th optimism right now about this team as you get ready for the 25-26 season?
Well, certainly there are a lot of question marks, right? Just because you lose the majority of your scoring and rebounding and just overall experience. But I'd say what really, I guess, is the exciting element here, Jeff, is the opportunity. I think that's what this season will represent: opportunity for players, no matter if they're seniors or if they're incoming freshmen. This freshman class is, I think, going to be going to have a lot of playing time. Maya Crawford, whose dad Eric is on the staff at Iowa State for TJ Otzelberger. She is just like Katie in terms of a really good defender. Quinn Weiss is a really good forward. Miley Monahan, her older sister Maddie, played at Drake, great point guard. And then Anna Becker coming in from Kansas. So this is going to be a younger team. And so there's going to be those speed bumps along the way, but very much there's going to be opportunities. I love the addition of Lexi Carlson from Northern Illinois. You talk about an absolute sharpshooter, 42% from long range, made 65 threes, averaged about 30 minutes as a freshman. She played for her mom, who was the head coach there at NIU, and just resigned after 10 seasons. And so she will bring in, a lot of experience just after 1 year to a backcourt that will really need it. But I think that this season represents a lot of opportunity, a lot of growth. And so while, yes, there are the uncertainties, there are the unknowns, and in terms of optimism, it's like, not quite sure. I mean, to me, I think it's really exciting to see this offseason, how it's going to shake out. Maybe there'll be another addition in the portal. We'll find out. Not sure. But either way, the pieces are there for what's going to be the youngest team that Drake has courted in probably over 10 years easily. And so it's just going to be one of those where you just sit back and watch this team develop game after game. But I think that's what the season's going to represent, is just opportunity, and there's going to be a lot of new faces out there that Drake fans will go here shortly.
And I guess my last question is just, but young or not, though, the standard's kind of the standard right now, right? I mean, 5 NCAA trips in
Yes.
9 years. We're not, like I said, we're not rebuilding. We're just, okay, they've left, new one's in, but we're playing for keeps here.
Yeah, exactly. And and you don't want it any other way, right? I mean, despite losing, the likes of Katie and Courtney and Anna, it's okay. They showed you the way. Now it's your turn. And so I think that's really the mentality. And so it's great to have that standard. And I know on the men's side at Drake, it just, no matter the coaching changes and just all the stuff that's fluctuated over there, there's now this standard of where you need to be at. And so a lot of programs strive for that success, and Drake is really fortunate for that. And so now it's, like you said, it's up to the younger players, and even, the players that had been here for the last 3 years that know what it takes. It's their time to shine, and we'll see, which players really step up. And I guess that, again, that goes back to the exciting growth and opportunity that lies ahead for this program, because the Valley, again, is going to be really, really tough here this upcoming season once we get into November.
He's Hunter Phillips. He is the radio voice for the Drake women's basketball program. Hunter, thank you so much for the time today. Enjoy whatever 10 minutes of break you can squeeze in here, and hopefully we can talk soon.
Yeah, I appreciate it, Jeff. Thanks so much.
All right, thank you. There's Hunter Phillips. Again, it's just in that program building realm of we have won and we have won and we have won that it's fine. You know, the names and the faces are going to change. The talent is going to change. You're going to lose some all-time great players, and that just means there's now room for new all-time great players that don't know they're all-time greats yet to fill in there for Coach Allison Pullman. We will talk with Allison Pullman. She'll be on this fine program coming up next Wednesday, as well as the commissioner of the Missouri Valley Conference, Jeff Jackson. He will also be with us coming up Friday. Evansville men's basketball coach David Ragland will be with us. So lots to talk to with all of those fine folks. So a little pre-programming notes there for those three. All right. Before Hunter jumped in, started talking about Jay Billis, we're going to go back to talking about Jay Billis. He had a video yesterday that he posted on his social media about the impact of NIL and how he believes that it's helpful, more helpful maybe than people think, about lifting and uplifting, I guess, and maybe closing the gap between the mid-majors and the power schools. So without me just trying to paraphrase, here is Jay Billis from his video yesterday, and we'll let you, it's about a 2-minute video, let you listen to his full context thoughts, and I've got thoughts coming up here in just a moment.
NIL is, I think, beneficial for everybody. What it does is allow smaller schools to access to better talent than they would have had otherwise. I'll give an example. 10 years ago, no player being recruited by the University of Kansas, Wichita State would not have a shot at any of those guys. Not a shot. Now, Wichita State might be able to offer Kansas's 4th best recruit enough money to be Wichita State's best recruit, and they may be able to get a player like that. That's possible now. It was not possible before. The way the system was structured before, when it was a scholarship only, players tended to cluster at the Power 5 level. And now talent is spread out more than ever. And I thought it was pretty interesting. 2 years ago, when Florida Atlantic and San Diego State made the Final Four, there was a lot of narratives and rhetoric out there about the world is flat now. The mid-majors are fully competitive with the majors, and we're not going to see the Power 5 conferences be as dominant. Then this year, when we had a historically great year as far as the top few teams were concerned, top 4 or 5 teams, and we had 4 number 1 seeds make the Final Four, the narrative was, the mid-majors are dead. The power conferences are going to dominate everything. The NCAA tournament's going to hell. There's no more Cinderella, and ratings were the highest they've been since 1993. So how is one to process all that? One, I would say one data point does not make a trend. 2 years ago and this year were just 1 year individually. And yet in those 2 years individually, we had vastly different takes on those years. Cinderella's not dead. We're still going to see upsets in the NCAA tournament. We saw some this year, maybe not as many as we had last year, but we saw some this year. I think NIL actually helps.
So that was Jay Billis. So my thoughts, there's a lot going on in there. And I think in the end, there's a lot of buts with some stuff that he said. Do mid-majors now have access to the 4th best player at Kansas? Yeah, they have access to them. Are they getting them? No. I mean, that's not happening on any sort of scale. It's just not. This is the time of year where you are, and I think there's 2 ways to look at it. Either A, you're getting the recruits that are coming out of high school. Then you are getting the kids that have been at the Power 4 schools, and then you're going to try to bring them in, recruit them in as freshman, sophomore, junior, whatever, to your mid-major school. As a point of reference, the number 4 scorer at Kansas this year, I just went through a couple top schools in the Big 12. Kansas's number 4 scorer averaged 9.2 points per game this year. Houston number 4 score averaged 10.6. Texas Tech's number 4 score averaged 10.6. So you're basically like 10 points a game from a Power 4 school. His theory and thesis, if I'm saying what he said, is that schools, and he said Wichita State, Wichita's in the American. The American is a 1-bid league. So, where the American and the Missouri Valley may pair up, they're both top 10 leagues, but they're both 1-bid leagues right now. So maybe not apples to apples, but it's close enough. There is no 10-point a game scorer from a Power 4 league that is coming to the Missouri Valley Conference. It's not happening. It's not happening. There are without fail at this point, if you're getting kids from Power 4 leagues, they are basically 1 point a game guys. Maybe 2 if you're feeling froggy. I mean, and without going through every roster. Northern Iowa got a commitment from Ishmael Doof, who played at NC State. He averaged 2.2 points a game. I think he was the 11th scorer. You had, and we'll talk a little bit later, Marlon Barnes from Pittsburgh out of the ACC, who signed with Evansville, I believe. And I've got all this stuff written down and can't seem to find it. Marlon Barnes has signed, and he averaged like 0.3. Like it doesn't happen. And even when you get guys from schools like a biggie like Murray State, just ripping off, everybody from Murray State and all the guys that Ryan Miller's pulled out of the portal. KJ Tenner, who was at West Virginia, another Big 12 school, he's coming in 2.2 points a game. JJ Trainer from DePaul, out of the Big East, 5.5 points. That's like as big of a from an upper level coming down. That's what you've got. So to just say and believe that a 10-point a game scorer, a kid that whether they have scored 10 or they have the potential to score the 10, I just don't see that right now. I just don't. The schools in the Missouri Valley are having to go and get guys on pedigree, but not get guys on results. And it's not the pedigree that we have, hey, they're a 4-star in high school and we're going to go get them before they go to Kansas. That's not happening. They have to go to Kansas and essentially not produce. I don't want to say fail because that's not a fair word, but not produce and not play. And then you get them on the rebound. That's not happening. It's not happening where you're getting a guy that averages 10 points a game. I think that what you have seen, I think he is spot on that this is still too early to tell. It's too early to get upset about stuff. 2 years ago, you had San Diego State and Florida Atlantic. This year, it was number ones across the board and no upsets, and everybody boo-hooed about it. And I understand that. For good reason, we all boo-hooed about it. But what you have is we need a little more time to kind of figure this out. But I think what also is happening and is going to happen within the next 2 months, if everything gets finalized, is you're going to have that house settlement. And then you're going to get revenue sharing. And now stuff's going to go off. Now the money is going nuts. There have been you have $10 million teams right now in college basketball. $10 million. We don't know for sure, but I feel good from all the conversations I've had with people that would know better. We didn't have any $1 million teams in the Missouri Valley Conference this past season. Just didn't. Are we going to this year? Yes. Are we going to have any $2 million teams? I'm going to be hard pressed to get to that number. But you've got teams with $10 million. That is a that is a chasm that you have to try to compete against. And now, especially when you're going from 13 scholarships to 15 scholarships, there's more room to stockpile this talent. Now, again, are you going to get them coming out of high school? No, because they're going to go get paid. Then they aren't going to play. They aren't going to produce. And yes, maybe you can get them back on the flip side. Maybe this, I feel like we're splitting hairs on some level, but I just don't find it to be reality at this point that guys that are the number 4 scorer at a Kansas is going to step down, especially when those guys are going to be commanding and getting, your numbers that are close. I don't think I'm losing my mind here thinking they're going to be getting at least $500,000 a year or close to 7 figures a year. I don't think that's nuts. And that's the budget for some of these schools. I mean, we heard from Evansville's athletic director, Ziggy Siegfried, said a couple weeks ago, we were talking to Jevin Redmond. He said, like, they're going to have 400,000. Like, they couldn't afford. They'd have to go so far down the board on Kansas just to afford. Now, that's not every school in the league, but it's not reality. It's just not. And so that's the part that do they have access to them? Yes. Can they actually pull them? I'm hard pressed to think that's going to happen. And again, with this revenue sharing, now you have this $20 million that schools have access to. Well, and again, a lot of that's going to go to football, but you have schools that don't have football that are going to be able to fund and funnel more to the men's basketball program. And it's just going to make it a very difficult situation in trying to win those battles. It just is. And I think you're going to see more of the stockpiling. Now, I think you're going to see, I still think we need a few more years of NIL. And I think we need a few more causes and effects coming out of NIL where you see guys that play at and this is not I'm not picking on Cade Tyson. This is just the first name that pops to my mind. Cade Tyson was an all-league guy at Belmont, and he went to North Carolina for X amount of dollars. Great. And he, I have zero issue with him making that decision. But he went to North Carolina and he didn't play barely. And so I think, and he is one of countless kids that has happened to. So I think what you're going to see when we have more years of data, and then the coaches that are re-recruiting their kids saying, look, here is the laundry list of kids that have gone and chased money or left for whatever reason. But money is certainly, I don't want to say chasing money, because that's, again, not fair to the kids, and it's not fair to Cade, and I'm not trying to tie them in. But money played a part in the decision to leave. And they went and they did not play. And now they're looking for another home again, where it's like, maybe we can just stay, and now with revenue sharing, more money internally with an ability to keep and retain your guys, that this can work in the long run. I just don't think the NIL, the whole, where this is like year 3, 4 of it, let's get to year 10. And I know we don't want to be patient about stuff, but I think if we just give this some more time, that maybe and certainly if there are some guardrails put on the transfer stuff where kids can't just school hop year to year to year to year, that will slow some stuff down too. But they have access to the players. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. Are they pulling those players? No. And that is the big logic leap right there that I think is the hole in Jay's argument, that there's still a long way to go from getting the mids up to competing with the big boys. Two more things about that, and you also have the early entry NBA draft guys. The number this year was 106. 106 players entered the draft, which still feels like a lot for a draft that has 60 picks. A whole lot of guys are going to be disappointed. 4 years ago, before NIL really got off and running, that number was 363. And you had that many guys going in to the NBA draft with 60 spots. 363. So 363 in 4 years has gone down to 106. Because what you are seeing, and we just saw it with the NFL draft, is that why am I going to I want to earn money, and I want to be able to earn money for my family. And so Why would I go be a second round pick on a non-guaranteed contract, some sort of two-way deal, go play in the G League, make 30 grand, 40 grand, whatever they make, when I can stay in college and make six figures or beyond? Like that's just simple arithmetic right there. And it makes all the sense in the world that kids are staying in college longer. I think the trickle down to that is that the overall product of college basketball is better. Guys are staying longer. The whole pearl clutching on the one and dones and all that, because guys, for their situation, needed to go get paid. And if that meant whatever, I'm going to the G League, I'm going to try to get in the NBA, I'm going overseas, whatever it may have been. But now they can get paid in school. And so there's no reason to rush out and go try to get into the NBA draft. So the product as a whole is better. There is more talent sticking around. But again, now with the roster expansion from 13 to 15, those top tier schools can continue to hold on to that talent, potentially, if the kids choose to stay. And that, there's so many reasons why kids make decisions to go to one school or the next. But I feel like that now almost 10-minute rant. This is a situation of still too early to tell. It's still too early to tell. We just need a little more data. And 1 year of the pendulum, 2023, you got 2 mid-majors in the Final Four. This year, no mid-majors even in the Sweet 16, and it felt like the world was cratering. But I think this revenue sharing thing is going to push the pendulum this way and keep it kind of that way. And we're going to have to wait to see how that plays out. Now, the other part of this is, and hey, it is April the 30th. It's never too early to start talking about Joe Lunardi and bracketology at ESPN. He posted his way too early bracketology for next season. And it's always interesting with the one bid leagues who gets the nod. And sometimes it's, who's the defending champ, and sometimes, it's who's the, early in the year, the AQ teams. It's like, all right, who's got the, who's got the highest net or maybe the best record. It doesn't matter. They don't really care. They're just filling a slot for, the best team in the league. But they had Illinois State put in there at number 12, which again, a couple weeks ago, everybody thought, yeah, they're the preseason pick. They got everybody back. Everybody feels good about that. There have been some certain additions to the conversation here in the last couple of weeks, but we're not here to grind that axe right now. The main issue here is that when you're talking about mid-majors and Cinderellas and all of that, is we are not in a world right now where that is, the possibility of that is getting lessened by the day. Simply because when you look at Joe Lunardi's bracketology, in terms of at-large teams, the SEC with 12, the Big Ten with 11, the Big 12 with 7, the ACC 4, and the Big East 3. So there's 5 leagues, 5 with at-large teams, 5. That, when you talk about access, it's hard for Cinderella to get to the ball when there's only so many tickets, and they're not getting any of them. That was the whole thing about the Missouri Valley being, man, you want to be, you're a top 10 league, and there's some gravitas to that, some pride to that of, hey, we're a top 10 league. That's awesome. But if you're not a top 5 league at this point, you're not getting extra teams in. And that is the problem. And that may be the way that the big boys are maybe getting what they want, and they have figured out a way right now, as it's just this matter of when you have the SEC and 16 schools and everybody's playing one another, and the computers say that these are all quad 1 games, and you get the end of the year and you're like, well, we've played 25 quad 1 games, and Missouri Valley teams played 2 because they just don't get the opportunities. And that's where we are right now with the tournament. If it's not going to expand, and a year ago And we're going to talk with Jeff Jackson about this next week. A year ago, when we talked about the tournament expansion, it felt imminent, that this was going to be a case of whether it was going from 68 to 72, 74, 76, whatever it was going to be, it was coming. It's been very quiet in those talks. Now, to think that, let's just say 76, because that feels like the number that was thrown out the most often. If it gets to 76, don't fool yourself for any amount of time that those 8 spots are going to mid-majors. But in the end, it's like, all right, did we get 2 of them? Did we get 2? Is that enough to be able to just spread the wealth a little bit and provide some more opportunities? It will just be increasingly difficult. As we talked the other day with Casey Alexander, these multi-team events, these Thanksgiving week tournaments where teams were able to get in forever, and that was your shot to get your chance to play a big boy on a neutral site, and you had an opportunity to get some wins. And big boys don't want to play those games anymore, and they're not going. And that's why I think it's Charleston, maybe Myrtle Beach. One of those 2 MTEs is basically shutting down. The other one's splitting into a high major, mid-major affair. You've got this Players Era Festival, I think it's called, out in Vegas, where you got all these teams showing up, big boy teams, and getting all this NIL money. And it's like, they're not going to play in these MTEs anymore. And so whatever goalpost moving has been done that is shoehorning more big boys into the tournament and sort of excluding the little guys, it's happening. And that's why, the tournament expanding, I know the purists hate it, but if it just gives you a little more daylight for a couple, look, again, right now, and again, it's August 30th, April 30th, and none of this matters. But the fact that on a bracketology that you've got 5 conferences, the Power Fours and the Big East, you don't even have the Mountain West. It's like that is a problem for sort of the sport we love, the tournament we love. And, I've always heard, it's like people like the Cinderella, but man, when you get to the Final Four, you just want the big boy, the Cadillac programs going in there and playing. And yeah, that's fine. I mean, I see that argument, but at the same time, Butler playing Duke for a national title, that was kind of, you get David and Goliath on Monday night. I mean, that's a freaking big deal. And it's all about stories. And like, you couldn't ask for anything more. And they're a half-court shot away from winning the national championship. I mean, it doesn't happen all the time. But to just basically exclude everybody, this is becoming problematic. And it's hard when you were like, man, we got a top 10 lead, we got an opportunity to get in as an at-large. And now it's just like, no, you don't. Like, you're not even sniffing it. Again, what Drake end up? 31-3, 31-4 once they lost, to Missouri. Was it Missouri? Not Missouri. Texas Tech in the second round. It's been a month that they beat Missouri. But I was like, when you're 31-3 and you're an 11 seed, like, you weren't sniffing an at-large bid. And that, from a top 10 league, that is a problem with the system right now. And I'm just afraid that system is going to be, it's going to just bowl over the mid-majors, and they're not going to have an opportunity. They're just going to lose out. And then, we'll see what happens with that moving forward. But hopefully there are some, and I don't know how that toothpaste gets put back in the tube. I just don't. And that's what we will have to continue to fight against here in the years to come. All right, let's hop off the soapbox. Let's get back to work. In terms of additions to programs and kids from lower levels that are now coming up a level, boy, oh boy, did UIC on the women's side get a home run hitter that they hope. Her name is Jessica Carruthers. She is an NAIA All-American, played at IU Northwest, 5'7" guard. She played at Butler coming out of high school. Played at Butler. She was a Big East all freshman team member there at Butler, left Butler, went to IU Northwest, NAIA program. This past season, she averaged 31.5 points a game, 6.5 rebounds, 4.5 assists, 3.5 steals, a first team All-American on the NAIA side. She played, I think the number was 50 games in 2 seasons there at IU Northwest. She was in double figures every game. She scored at least 21 times. She scored 46 times, and she had a career high of 51. That is a home run hitter. And even if she can't live up to, and she's not going to live up to scoring 31 a game in the Missouri Valley Conference, if she does half of that, it has been a major addition for Ashleen Bracey up there at UIC. So Jessica Carruthers has signed to be a UIC Flame. SIU has gone out and signed a couple kids here in the last few days. Texas A&M Corpus Christi transfer Jada Whitner, a 5'5" guard, and as we talked with Hunter Phillips, small guards, no big deal in this league. But 4.5 points a game this past season down at Corpus Christi, but she shot the ball well, 42% from beyond the arc. So some reinforcements for an SIU team that really had to play without a point guard this past season, and they went and got 2. They also signed Kennedy Davis, a Trinity Valley Community College the last 2 seasons, 5'7" guard, fills the need at the point guard position. Kelly Bond White saying there, 10.5 points a game, 3.5 rebounds, 3 assists per contest. So SIU trying to refill the coffers there on the point guard position. This probably would have been better squeezed in a minute ago. We were talking about revenue sharing, but Bradley is their women's program is starting a collective, and this is a video that the Bradley folks put out. Head coach Kate Popovic-Goss posted this yesterday, and this is brilliant's a strong word, but I'm going to say it's really, really, really good. Here is Kate Popovic-Goss.
Hey Bradley fans, it's Coach Pop. I'm so excited to announce Be Brave, a collective created exclusively for Bradley women's basketball athletes. This is a community-driven organization with the goal of supporting its athletes in the name, image, and likeness realm. The goal of this collective ventures far beyond creating opportunities for our athletes. The goal is to leverage them into the Peoria community and create opportunities that will support them not only now, but in the future and years to come. Thank you guys so much for your support.
So that's Kate Popovic-Goss. I think this is going to be, Bradley was kind of ahead of the game on the men's side with the collective a couple of years ago. And as we go into this revenue sharing, there has been talk about sort of the lack of necessity when it comes to collectives, that it's like, you don't need collectives anymore because you're going out and you're going to have the revenue sharing and everything's coming inside and what have you. And I think what you're going to have, like at the big schools, you're going to have, and we'll just pick Ohio State, they got $20 million that they can share with revenue, but a lot of that's going to football. I mean, that's just the bottom line with that. And that you are going to need a collective at Ohio State or Kentucky or Kansas or whoever, maybe not Kansas, maybe Kansas in terms of football. But when you have places that are so football dominant, they still need money to go help their other sports, basketball, what have you. And you're going to need that from a collective standpoint. Obviously, Bradley, every other school in the Missouri Valley is not going to have $20 million in revenue share to pass on, but they have to make, those athletic departments have to make the decisions about their revenue sharing. However much they plan to share, who gets what piece of the pie? And is it going to football? Is it going to men's basketball? Is it going to women's basketball? Where's it going to go? And I just feel like this is a forward thinking stance from Bradley of we are going to have a women's collective, which to me, and this is speaking as out of turn as I possibly could be. It tells me that they need more. Like whatever the revenue share is going to be, is that it's not what they would like. And look, it doesn't matter what it is. You always want more. You want to have more in the war chest to be able to go get players. But it focuses it now on this is, I think, the collective, sort of the air around the collectives now, and how much of it was focused on men's basketball, focused on football. Well, that focus is going to kind of diminish a little bit because those guys are all moving in-house now with the revenue sharing, that you can focus on your women's basketball or whatever sport that you may want to throw the weight of the collective behind. And so for a program like Bradley that has made these incremental leaps every year with Kate Popovic-Goss, to be able to say, look, we got all these kids coming back. They're familiar in the community. Let's get them out in the community more. Let's have some sort of financial commitment to them. They can get out in the community. They can build these relationships with business leaders that can help them when they're done with Bradley. But those relationships can help those businesses today and work that and be able to help fund the student athletes there at these schools. And I think it's great. And I think you're going to see more of that from schools around the conference. Like I said, Bradley was one of the first. Well, everybody was kind of trying to figure everything out 3 years ago. Bradley was the first one through the forest, trying to clear the path of how do we make this work? How do we raise money? And now they've shifted that to the women's side. So that's I think it's a brilliant move by the Bradley Brain Trust up there to try to throw that collective behind the women's basketball program. Okay. We've got a couple more commitments and signings to get to here. Indiana State head coach Mark Mitchell. Everybody went in the portal at the end of the season. Everybody went in the portal, and he is reloading as he has signed. He's gotten a commitment rather from Camariana Tavares, who has played at Alabama State. I believe she's from Murfreesboro, Tennessee, coming a little bit closer to home. 6'3" sophomore, have a couple years left there. Only averaged, 1 point, 1.5 rebounds, 26 games with Alabama State this past season, played 7.5 minutes, but brings some legitimate size. I mean, you've got 6'3" in this league. That is legitimate size that can help Coach Mark Mitchell. Some discussion of old friends moving on. Grace Billington, who played at Murray State, freshman out of Moberly, Missouri, just not really, kind of dealt with some knee injuries in the offseason, was never really able to crack the rotation. She has finally committed and signed. Went into the portal about a month ago, but committed and signed, and she has moved on to the University of Tennessee at Martin. Talked about Evansville a little bit earlier. Keyshawn Porter has signed now. The product from North Carolina Central. He averaged 10.8 points per game for NC Central last season, 47% from the floor, 37% from three. So helping the back with lots of size over there with Coach David Ragland. Again, we'll talk with him coming up on Friday morning. A lot of size, but also now getting some reinforcements in the backcourt. Tayshawn Comer moving on, and Keyshawn Porter going to try to fill that void for Coach Ragland. Back to our old friends, as Ben Hummerkaus, who got an extra year of eligibility, had that one great year at Evansville, went on to the University of Illinois, got an extra year of eligibility, thanks in part to that NAIA ruling that if you played NAIA, your eligibility was running out this year. Hey, you're back, and you get another year. He is returning to the University of Illinois to play for Coach Brad Underwood. Mark Brown has officially signed with Valparaiso. He was played for Snow Junior College, 6-foot guard. They were like 31-2 this year, 13.5 points per game this season. He had originally committed to Omaha. There was an assistant coaching change there, and he reopened his recruiting, and Roger Powell flew in a minute down to Arizona and got Mark Brown signed. And finally, from the old friends department, Cade Norris from Illinois State. He has committed to Samford University. He's and is committed with his brother Keaton. Keaton spent the last several years at Wright State. Cade, of course, at Illinois State. I think of their 12 scores last year, he was 12th. They got everybody back. Cade Norris, one that decided to move on, but I think that's a pretty neat deal that getting a chance to play with his brother, again, who'd been at Wright State for a few years, but able to find a mutual landing place and landing spot for those two, and be able to finish. Like Cade's only going to be a sophomore. I think Keaton is now into his senior year, but at least get 1 year together that they will have an opportunity to play and later as well. All right, that does it for this morning's edition of Morning in the Valley. Glad you have been with us today. Again, if you have not done so yet, please do us a favor. Head on over to YouTube and subscribe to the page. That will help us continue to grow, get some more visibility. Share this with your Missouri Valley Conference basketball-loving friends, continuing to get this thing off the ground. Coming up on Friday, we're going to talk with Evansville men's basketball coach David Ragland. Next week, the commissioner, Jeff Jackson, will be with us. Drake women's head coach Allison Pullman will join us as well. Today, I want to thank Hunter Phillips, the radio voice for the Drake women's basketball team. Thank you for his time today. And that is all on this Wednesday. Enjoy the last day of April. I think, as John Rothstein says, we sleep in May, so maybe we can take a nap tomorrow. Collectively, go find a porch swing somewhere and sleep it out. But thanks for joining us today, and thanks for watching, as always, Morning in the Valley.